The intense December cold enveloped Willow Creek like a mantle of ice, making the now bare trees appear covered in serene whiteness. The houses, decorated with twinkling lights and festive wreaths, exuded a sense of Christmas anticipation as the residents hurried to prepare their celebrations. Among the shadows of eaves and the snowflakes dancing in the wind, Toby, a stray dog, wandered the streets, his presence a small warmth amidst the biting cold. With his brown and weathered coat, he carried the marks of hardship but also the hope that his solitary life seemed to inspire. Toby knew every corner of Willow Creek, every face of its residents, and though he had no home, he was treated as a beloved member of the community. He roamed with a purpose, always searching for something yet undefined. The generous instinct that inhabited his heart led him to gather small, discarded objects, yellowed newspapers, forgotten socks, and other remnants that held a special meaning to him. With firm and determined steps, Toby followed a specific path, as if guided by an invisible force. His journey was marked by innate curiosity and a determination that intrigued the townsfolk. As the days drew closer to Christmas, the atmosphere in Willow Creek became increasingly magical, but concern spread among the neighbors. The Mason family, one of the most respected in the community, was facing financial struggles. Whispered conversations on sidewalks and in market lines revealed the solidarity the townspeople felt for the Masons, but also their sense of helplessness. Then Toby, on his usual route, began to draw attention. Intrigued, the neighbors started following him, curious to discover the reason behind his peculiar behavior. The dog, with his canine wisdom, seemed to lead everyone toward a greater purpose, involving the community in a mystery that promised a significant change in all their lives. The neighbors, wide-eyed and warmed in their hearts, watched Toby with a mix of admiration and surprise. The dog, with his coat weathered by the elements yet still full of life, walked determinedly toward the Mason family's porch. Every step he took seemed purposeful, as if he knew he was about to accomplish something meaningful. When he reached his destination, Toby carefully placed a small stuffed toy and a thick sock he had found during his wanderings through Willow Creek. The simple yet meaningful gesture deeply moved the onlookers. Sarah, the Mason family's mother, was at home when she noticed the items left by Toby. Opening the door, her eyes fell on the unusual scene. A forgotten toy and a warm sock, both nestled on the porch as if they were early Christmas gifts. Sarah's heart tightened as a wave of confusion and gratitude swept over her. Who could have left those items there? The generosity of an unknown benefactor deeply touched her, making her reflect on the kindness that still existed in the world, even in difficult times. Meanwhile, Toby, undeterred by the residents' curiosity, continued his mission. He moved with agility, searching for new treasures to bring to the Masons. Inspired by the sight of the altruistic dog, the neighbors began leaving objects in strategic places, ready to be carried. Warm clothes, canned food, and toys were carefully placed in bags, ready for delivery. With each new item, the hope for a better future for the Mason family grew, and a chain of solidarity formed in the community. The transformation taking place in Willow Creek was palpable. People, once immersed in their daily routines, began to unite around a single purpose: to help those in need. Each act of kindness, each object left on the Mason's porch, was a testament to humanity's capacity to care and act. Toby, the dog with a special instinct for understanding the needs of others, became a symbol of hope and unity during a time when hardship seemed to dominate. Thus, Willow Creek flourished in solidarity, and the community spirit grew stronger with each new act of generosity. In the days following Toby's first delivery, the Mason family's porch turned into a true altar of solidarity. Christmas gifts, food, clothing, and toys began to accumulate, forming a colorful pile that reflected the community's generous spirit. The residents of Willow Creek, moved by the family's situation, spent their afternoons preparing packages and leaving them on the porch, creating an atmosphere of unity and hope. The image of Toby, with his brown coat and bright eyes, joyfully running back and forth, became a symbol of kindness and compassion. Meanwhile, the neighborhood children, inspired by the dog's gesture, began creating cards and notes of support for the Masons. With colorful pens and shiny paper, they drew stars, Christmas trees, and hearts, writing messages filled with affection and encouragement. Each card was a masterpiece, reflecting the innocence and generosity of the young ones. The children gathered in groups, laughing and sharing ideas on how to further brighten the family's life, united by the same cause. The story of Toby and his altruistic mission began to spread through the town, like wildfire racing through a dry field. Residents weren't just talking about the donations they were making, but also about the dog who had become a symbol of hope. Some even started calling him the miracle dog, believing his presence had brought something magical to Willow Creek. The love and solidarity that emerged from this situation transformed the town's routine, and people began to see one another differently, realizing that small gestures could have a significant impact on others' lives. Each new day, Toby continued his mission, running from house to house with an attentive gaze and a generous heart. He had become the link connecting people, and everyone felt closer, more united. The Masons' porch, once empty and silent, now pulsed with life and hope. The community had found a new purpose, and through a simple dog, the magic of Christmas came alive in every corner of Willow Creek. On Christmas Eve, the atmosphere in Willow Creek was filled with anticipation and joy. The biting cold of the night didn't dampen the enthusiasm of the residents, who gathered in front of the Mason family's house. With lanterns and smiles lighting up their faces, they set about preparing a surprise party that would undoubtedly become a milestone in the family's life. The large pine tree in the yard, traditionally a symbol of celebration, was adorned with twinkling lights, handmade ornaments, and red ribbons that gleamed under the moonlight. Laughter and murmurs of excitement echoed through the street, creating a symphony of celebration that enveloped the entire neighborhood. Meanwhile, Toby, the adorable dog, was the center of attention. With a bright red bow around his neck, he moved with an almost majestic grace among the community's inhabitants. His presence not only symbolized the generosity and love uniting the neighbors, but also reminded everyone of the impact he had made on the Mason family's life. Toby ran back and forth, receiving pets and strokes, as if he knew he was the hero of that special night. The sparkle in his eyes reflected the happiness of seeing so many people coming together for such a noble cause. As the party came together, the scent of cakes and cookies began to fill the air, awakening the appetite of everyone present. The tables were decorated with festive cloths and dishes full of treats, while the children added the final touches to the decorations and prepared Christmas cards expressing love and gratitude. The energy was contagious. Every laugh and every act of kindness contributed to the magic of that evening. When the sun finally set and the stars began to shine in the sky, the community was ready. Everyone positioned themselves in silence, peeking at the Mason family's door, eagerly awaiting the moment they would come outside. The anticipation was palpable, and hearts beat as one. The unity of everyone that night wasn't just a celebration of Christmas, but a clear demonstration that together, they could overcome difficulties and bring a ray of hope to those in greatest need. Toby, with his red bow and generous spirit, was the perfect symbol of this unity, a reminder that kindness still prevailed, even in challenging times. The Christmas party at the Mason house turned into a true spectacle of joy and togetherness. As the lights of the grand pine tree glowed beneath the falling snow, the atmosphere was filled with laughter and lively conversations. Sarah and her husband, Tom, watched the scene around them, marveling at the love and solidarity they had received. The children, their faces glowing, ran back and forth, showing off the gifts left by Toby and all the neighbors. Each package was a symbol of hope, and each toy was a reminder that kindness still existed in the hearts of the community. Toby, the protagonist of the night, moved among the guests, his tail wagging enthusiastically. His presence was a balm for everyone, and he was petted by adults and children alike, who saw in him the embodiment of what it meant to care for one another. When a little girl crouched down to pet him, Toby gently placed his nose in her hand, as if to thank her for all the affection he was receiving. The scene was a vivid portrait of unconditional love, and Toby, with his gentle gaze, seemed to understand the importance of his role. After the party, even as the celebrations came to an end, Toby's story continued to resonate throughout Willow Creek. The residents, deeply moved by what they had witnessed, decided that it would become a tradition to uphold. Every year, on December 24th, the community would gather to celebrate the solidarity and kindness the dog had inspired. The memories of that magical night became pillars of hope, and the Masons, now surrounded by friends and neighbors, found not only support but a new family. Over time, Toby's memory became intertwined with the history of Willow Creek, transforming the stray dog into a symbol of unity. Each Christmas celebration became an opportunity to remember how a simple act of generosity could transform lives. The children, now grown, became champions of solidarity, perpetuating Toby's legacy and spreading the message that, together, they could face any challenge. The magic of his story continued to shine, warming the hearts of everyone in the town and reminding them that kindness would always find a way. The gentle February breeze swept through Willow Creek, carrying with it the faint scent of damp earth. The trees, still adorned with vibrant green leaves, swayed slowly, as if recounting the stories of the winter that had passed. Toby, the dog who had become the community's symbol of solidarity, continued his small deliveries, but something different lingered in the air. The chatter among the neighbors grew, and secrets began to unravel. In an isolated corner of the town, a former soldier named Daniel lived in a small cabin, far from the hustle and bustle of urban life. He was a man of strong appearance, but his eyes carried the weight of experiences that had turned him into a recluse. His nights were long, and his memories painful. Toby, his loyal companion, had been his only solace during difficult times. In an act of love and desperation, Daniel allowed Toby to become the neighborhood's hero, believing that by helping others, his dog could bring a glimmer of light to a world he saw as dark. When the truth about Toby's origins came to light, the community was shocked, but their surprise quickly turned to empathy. The residents, who had loved the dog so dearly, understood that he was the bridge between a life marked by trauma and the hope for a different future. The news spread like wildfire, and the need to support Daniel became a collective calling. Thus, a new movement began to take shape in Willow Creek. The neighbors gathered, not just to help Toby, but also to extend a hand to the man who had always been behind the dog. Compassion flourished, and the desire to understand and heal became a unifying force. Assemblies were organized, and everyone mobilized to provide emotional and practical support to Daniel. He, who had once felt invisible and isolated, began to realize that the community's kindness could be the answer to his own wounds. The former soldier, deeply moved by this wave of love and solidarity, began to open his heart. He shared his experiences, his internal battles, and the moments of despair that had led him to his reclusive life. And as Daniel opened up, he became part of the community, a link in the chain of compassion that Toby had started. The transformation of a broken man into a symbol of hope unfolded before everyone's eyes, showing that, often, the most profound stories of redemption are intertwined with those of others, revealing that love and solidarity can heal even the deepest wounds.